I didn't forget to sign.
No,
Okay.
it's on the agenda. We did this after the meeting. Dan, I talked to Lonnie today, and I asked him to talk to Cass about that spot,
Good idea,
so.
good idea. I talked with Van again and I said, I agree with you. It really doesn't make sense for it to be parallel. But I also think that, it's 30 feet. If they pulled a fire engine in there, I really just think it should go away and just be all red.
Okay, guys. Clock says it's 5. We get started.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approved agenda. There's no changes to it.
Oh, sorry. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. I'll second.
With a second, okay. Have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public input?
I have public input. In front of you, you'll find a document that says public input. It's easier to put it down in writing. This is just a rough draft of what could happen. In the referencing materials, this is everything as I understand it that you got for an application for variance. The document behind it, the next page, is what Union County uses for a variance. If this information is accurate, the city needs to do some changing because according to that, the variance, you're supposed to state what it's built out of, the purpose, etc., etc. The other thing is on the variance, any documents that have been signed and notarized are void because the original building permit was changed. The next couple of things are State Bar title standards where it talks about covenants and conditions and stuff. This is directed at appraisals and I can't think of that term, for which they do title searches and stuff like that. That's done up by the State Bar. That's for that. 11.51, 11.52, those all deal with codes, covenants, and restrictions. Remedies is number 11.53. This is all for your convenience. 11.54 says that not to exceed 25 years from the date of such declaration. The thing is the codes and covenants, if you read them, and I gave you a copy in a second, it starts out with a 25-year term, and then from there, it automatically renews, which starts the clock again. So, in anticipation of the argument that the time limit ran out or is about to run out, it is the way it's written is it's scheduled to renew automatically or have a majority vote by landowners only that will change this. This is something that goes back to common law. It deals with keeping the value of a person's property. Keep in mind, you let standalone garages or any other things of that nature go into where you have this subdivision, you're trying to sell lots. And I can tell you, I for one would not buy a lot in anything that would have something similar to what's at the end of Anderson Street or what's proposed for Anderson Street. You aren't going to get them sold. So just keep that in mind. The other thing is that in the documentation that I wrote, the rough draft, It deals with a Supreme Court decision in which codes and covenants were involved. And one of the things coming out of that Supreme Court decision was that the party of the Iron and Wood Company, because they forced them to enforce the codes and covenants, the court awarded them legal costs, etc. So be aware of that. So, like I said, it's a lot to read. It's still a little bit rough, but there is a cure for that, and I suggest that the variance be abandoned because it's going to cause problems, and it goes against the codes, covenants, and restrictions. Thank you.
When is the final draft gonna be done?
As soon as I get a copy of what Mr. McGill offers up for opinion, so I'm not flying blind.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other public input?
I would like to offer one response. I can appreciate that Union County does need to have a formal application for their planning and zoning. We are a town of 800. I know the people that walk through the door to obtain a variance. At the time the person walks in the door to obtain a variance, or at the time they come in to get a building permit, I do it both times. I go on to Beacon Schneider and I print out, so I have the property owner and the legal description and the lot size. When someone wants to come in and get a variance, I will print that out and have it in their file. And then the only thing that I ask from them is a drawing and their request of what the variance is that they need. So, again, I can appreciate the fact that Vicki printed out Union County's, but Union County probably wouldn't know a majority of their citizens that are coming in to get a variance, and we do. So that is why, when she came in to ask for that information, that is what I gave her.
And in response to that, whether you're a town of 800 or 800,000, legal is legal and binding. Just because you're a small town doesn't mean you're immune to doing it right and doing it correctly. I don't care if you know them or not. There's certain things that need to be enforced for the protection of the council and the city of Alcester. It doesn't make any difference.
Mr. Mayor, may I say something?
Sure.
It sounds like a lot of, like, Lance doesn't know, you're not 100% sure, he's not 100% sure, city attorney's not 100% sure, nobody knows right now, so I think it's just best to pass it off to the attorneys, let them hash it out, and we just move on.
That's why we table it till the next meeting. And
Yeah.
And that's what I thought
he's gonna
too. I
have
thought that
his
was
documents
the
from
decision
his
that-
attorney
Yeah,
at that time,
That
and that's
nobody
why we
knows.
pushed it off till the January meeting.
yeah.
Okay.
I would caution you on your method of tabling. Read Robert's Rules of Order. That table, it takes a motion and a second, and,
We just
That-
didn't act. That's all we did. We just didn't act.
yeah. But
So-
tabling's not the proper term, okay?
So we just didn't
We
act.
didn't act on
That's
it.
really the,
Okay, we'll strike that word table and we'll put, there was no action taken at this time. Okay, I do have one other thing. I want to thank anybody that was involved in the Christmas tree lighting and the program that was put on. It was an excellent job and everything worked out good. If you didn't have a chance to go there at that time, you missed something because it was fun.
it really was nice.
Okay,
Who did the horses, speaking of that?
Vic?
Vic? Thank you. Someone asked. I thought that's who it was.
okay. Number 5, second reading of ordinance 2019-08, an ordinance establishing the Pleasant Hill Municipal Cemetery and creating policies regarding the same.
I did make the 2 changes that were requested at last week's meeting.
And that was P5 and 8.
5 and 8, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
13.5 now says bases will be allowed on the base. End of story.
Okay.
Use of corner markers is not allowed. End of story. Very
That- Those
succinct.
were the only two things that we had to change on. Okay.
I would make a motion that we approve the second reading of ordinance 2019-8.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, we have a motion to approve warrant of $24,782 to Wagner Auto, $800, Premier Bank check, be payable to CDBG account for purchase of 2019 police Dodge Charger patrol car.
It's not $800.
It's
$8.
Yeah.
It was just for the
For-
cashier's
for
check.
Where am I reading it wrong?
You said 800.
Oh, I said 800, there's a dot there, I didn't see it, sorry about that, $8. Huh. Okay,
I will make a motion to approve the warrant of $24,782 for the purchase of the police Dodge Charger patrol car and the cost of the bank check.
I'll second
do we need to put this $8?
That's in there.
It's
She
in
just
the
said it.
total.
Yep, she just said it.
All right. Okay, we have a motion and a second, is there any discussion? All in favor?
it.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Supplemental appropriations ordinance. Motion to approve the second reading of the supplemental appropriation ordinance.
Aren't any changes under Pat?
No.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of supplemental appropriations ordinance 2019-09.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Committee meetings date for city variances,
Vacancies.
set meeting dates.
For the city vacancies, the library, the solid waste, possible sextant position if we're ready for that.
Okay,
So do we have a committee or we're making a committee? and
Making a
then-
committee and setting a time to meet, correct.
okay, so we need library,
Just for your information, the library board is meeting Friday night to set out the job description and get what we think would be a good ad.
This Friday, the
This
13th?
Friday the 13th, yes, 6 o'clock.
And the library, the library board typically interviews their own people and make a recommendation, and you guys ratify, so.
Yeah, if you'd want to continue that, that's fine, otherwise, the other option would be we have more than one applicant, we could recommend the top two and have them come in for an interview, but otherwise, the 5 people on the library board would just take care of that interview process.
okay.
So that leaves.
What other ones do we have?
Sexton?
The sextant and the solid waste,
What?
landfill,
Landfill.
Oh, the landfill, that's right, 'cause,
and depending how we wanna handle people who mow.
are we gonna have to put out a job,
Well,
what's the
that's the
word?
point of the, that's the point of the
That's
meeting,
what happens.
is we don't know, nobody
don't
really
know.
knows.
Yeah, we'll have to get that straightened out at the committee meeting.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. So we need, you said that there's on the 13th, there's a library board meeting.
Yeah, at 6 o'clock, probably take a half hour or so.
Okay, then on the landfill, we'll need a committee meeting date for that. Who all is on that?
I think that's what we decided.
We needed,
Yeah,
we need to
We don't-
pick, we don't have,
we don't have
we don't
a
have
committee
a
for that.
Yeah.
'Cause the
Same
committee-
thing, and they should just be the same.
Yeah, that's what I
Really.
was just thinking.
Landfill, sexton, and, I mean, if they had any input on the library board, that'd be fine too. It depends on when they meet. If they meet after the 13th, they may already have information from the library board, in which case they can review it.
If the library wants to handle it, then I say
I
just
agree.
let
Yes,
them
I
handle it.
agree.
I agree.
Okay. Okay.
I would
so-
volunteer to be on the committee if you would like me to be.
Do it before classes start.
And, yeah, and if I am on the committee, I would recommend, or I would ask that we do it
In
this month.
December.
Okay. Um,
Did you want to be on since you're part of the cemetery?
I can, yes. I don't know how much I can do this month. But we'll
Okay.
see, it
I
depends.
think maybe we should also throw in the mix the manager at the golf clubhouse.
Okay,
So I would be
Okay.
willing to work on the committee.
okay.
That's 3 members right
Yeah,
now.
that's 3 members now, do we?
That's all we can have.
That's what
Yeah,
I have.
I think that's
That's all
ample,
that they can.
unless you wanted somebody from one of the captains of industry or somebody like that involved. I mean,
Well, if we got the golf course in there, David really, he should be on that, and you 2 guys too, so if we got 3 people, I think that should do it.
I think we're good too.
Do we need to get that approved, or do
Do we
we
have to
just?
set a
We
date
need a
too?
date, yeah. I would
What are you
prefer
thinking?
the week of the 16th. I don't care which day necessarily.
Let me see.
Wednesdays don't work for me until Christmas.
So you want to do Christmas Day? Is that what you're saying?
Christmas Day, probably fine.
Okay, I don't,
Children's practice.
what time are you thinking you're gonna do it?
Whenever.
I'm
All I have
available
is-
after 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, well, I'm not. So we can do it after work. 'Cause George has therapy 3 of those days already, and the doctor's appointment on one of those days, so.
Okay.
You set a time.
So I can do any day, 16th, 17th, or, I don't wanna do Friday nights, I don't like Friday night meetings.
Okay, so 16th or 17th.
Do you have a preference? I don't have a preference.
We can do it Monday, because that's, since we always
Okay.
do Mondays, that makes.
12:16 at what time? You're done with school now?
Yep.
I can be here by 4:30.
Okay?
You wanna do 4:30? And are we gonna do it here?
Okay, you got it set?
Set.
Right,
Cool.
here though.
Okay, executive session if needed. Anybody need executive session? No? The next thing would be motion to adjourn the city council meeting.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 5:17. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Sorry it took so long.
That's good. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, Merry Christmas to you all.
I had a lady, that emailed me that wants to get something out of me. That she needs someone to write I thought so too.
You want all these?
Anyway, it just
Oh,
has
yeah.
to be done some,
Excuse me.
or,
There's one there.
I'll let her know.
yeah, just
Is it by
anytime. No, the gal I'm dealing with is in California.
Oh,
So
okay.
I told her, I said, as soon as I can make contact, I said,
Okay, no, I'll let her know.
all right, that sounds good, thank you so much.
Are you attending that evening?
Yes, I will. And you guys think about what you would like, I will have that ready for you. I'll have any materials that you want, I'll have.
Just job descriptions and